The lock clicked shut, and I heard my stepmother's footsteps retreating down the hallway. I pressed my face against the cold wooden door of the attic, listening to the sounds of celebration filtering up from below. Music, laughter, the excited chatter of unmated females preparing for the ceremony that could change their lives forever. The mating ceremony. The one night when the Alpha King himself would choose his queen from among the eligible females of all the packs. Every unmated she-wolf in the kingdom would be presented to him tonight. Every she-wolf except me. Elara? My stepsister Vivienne's voice drifted up the stairs, sweet as poison. Are you comfortable up there? I do hope you're not too cold. I didn't answer. Couldn't answer past the lump in my throat. Such a shame you can't attend, she continued, her voice dripping with false sympathy. But Mother's right. You're simply not fit to be seen by the king. That scar on your face, your weak wolf. It would be an embarrassment to our family if you were presented. The scar. My hand automatically went to my left cheek, tracing the raised line that ran from my temple to my jaw. A gift from a rogue attack 3 years ago. The attack that had killed my father and left me marked forever. Besides, Vivienne added, the king needs a strong Luna, someone beautiful and powerful, someone like me. Mother says I'm certain to catch his eye. I heard the rustling of silk, Vivienne's ceremonial dress, no doubt. Expensive, beautiful, everything I would never have. Goodbye, sister, she said, the word dripping with mockery. Think of me when the king makes his choice. Think of me wearing the crown that should have been yours. Her footsteps faded, and I was alone again. I sank to the floor of the attic, pulling my knees to my chest. Around me were the remnants of my old life, my mother's belongings packed away after she died giving birth to me 18 years ago. My father's things, hastily stored here after he'd remarried 4 years ago, trying to give me a new family. He'd meant well, but he'd died 2 years later. And his new wife, Eleanor, had shown her true nature the moment the funeral ended. I wasn't her daughter, I was her servant. Her shame. Something to be hidden away. Through the small attic window, I could see the palace in the distance, lit up like a beacon. The mating ceremony would begin at moonrise in less than an hour. All the unmated females from ages 18 to 25 would gather in the Great Hall, and the Alpha King would walk among them. They said he could scent his true mate, that the bond would call to him, unmistakable and absolute. Whoever he chose would become the most powerful female in the kingdom. My wolf whimpered inside me, pressing against my consciousness. She wanted to go, needed to go. Something in her was pulling toward the palace with an urgency I didn't understand. We can't, I whispered to her. We're locked in, and even if we could escape, look at us. We're nothing. Nobody. My wolf didn't agree. She paced restlessly, agitated in a way I'd never felt before. I stood and moved to the window, staring at the palace. From here, I could just make out figures moving in the torchlight. Carriages arriving, music starting. The ceremony was beginning, and I was here, locked away, invisible to the world. A tear slid down my cheek following the path of my scar. This was my life. This would always be my life. Hidden, forgotten, unwanted. The moon began to rise, full and bright, and something inside me screamed. My wolf surged forward with a strength I'd never experienced. The change ripped through me before I could stop it, bones shifting, fur erupting, my body transforming in a matter of heartbeats. But this wasn't my usual shift. My wolf was different, larger, stronger. Her fur was pure white, luminous in the moonlight streaming through the window. I'd never shifted into this form before, didn't even know I could. My wolf turned to the door and I felt her determination. She wasn't staying here. Mate bond or prophecy or pure instinct, something was calling her, and she was going to answer. She threw her weight against the door, once, twice. On the third impact, the old wood splintered. The lock gave way. We were free. My wolf bounded down the attic stairs through the house that had been my prison for 2 years. The servants were all at the ceremony or preparing for tomorrow's celebrations. No one was here to stop us. We burst through the back door into the night. The palace was 3 miles away. My wolf covered the distance in minutes, running faster than I'd ever run, driven by something I couldn't name but couldn't resist. The palace grounds were crawling with guards, but my wolf was clever. She kept to the shadows skirting the main entrances, following her instincts to a side gate used by servants. The gate was locked, but it was also old. My wolf jumped, catching the top of the wall with her front paws, and hauled herself over. We landed in the palace gardens, surrounded by roses and moonlight. Through the windows, I could see the great hall. Hundreds of she-wolves in beautiful dresses, all arranged in careful lines. And at the front of the hall, standing on a raised platform, the Alpha King. Even from here, even in wolf form, I felt the impact of him. He was massive, easily the largest male I'd ever seen, dressed in black and silver, his presence commanding every eye in the room. Dark hair fell to his shoulders, and even from this distance I could see his eyes were an unusual shade of silver blue. My wolf whimpered. Mate. No, that was impossible. The Alpha King's mate would be someone powerful, someone beautiful. Someone, the king's head snapped up, turning toward the windows, toward the gardens, toward me. His nostrils flared, his entire body went rigid, and then he moved. He was off the platform and striding toward the doors so fast the crowd barely had time to react. Wolves scattered out of his way, guards rushed to follow him. Your Majesty, someone called, the ceremony, you haven't chosen. I have, the king's voice carried through the open windows, deep and absolute. My mate is near. I can scent her. My wolf panicked and bolted, running deeper into the gardens. This was wrong. This couldn't be happening. He couldn't be. Stop running, the king's voice came from behind me, closer than should be possible. I know you're here. I can feel you. Come to me. It wasn't a command, not quite, but my wolf slowed despite my terror. She wanted to turn around, wanted to go to him. Please, he said, and the word was gentler. I won't hurt you. I swear it. Just let me see you. My wolf turned. The Alpha King stood 10 feet away, and up close he was even more overwhelming. Power radiated from him in waves, making my wolf want to submit and claim him all at once. He was staring at me, at my white wolf form, with an expression of wonder and disbelief. White fur, he breathed. A white wolf. Do you know what that means? I didn't. Had no idea. I'd never seen another white wolf in my life. You're marked by the moon goddess herself. White wolves are blessed, prophesied. He took a step closer, moving slowly like approaching a wild animal. Shift for me. Please, let me see your human form. I wanted to refuse, wanted to run, but my wolf was already pulling back. Forcing the change, my bones shifted, fur receding, and within moments I was standing there in my torn, dirty dress, the same plain dress I'd been wearing when they'd locked me in the attic. The king stared at me, at my wild, tangled black hair, at my bare feet, at the scar marring my face. This was it, the moment he'd realize his mistake. See that I was nothing, nobody worth choosing. But he didn't look disgusted. He looked stunned. You're beautiful, he said. I actually laughed, a bitter, broken sound. I'm scarred, weak, hidden away by my own family because I'm an embarrassment. Who told you that? His voice went hard. Everyone. My stepmother, my stepsister, the pack. They're wrong. He moved closer and I saw his eyes were dilated, his body trembling slightly with restrained power. You're my mate. Do you feel it? The bond? I did. Now that he'd said it, I couldn't not feel it, a golden thread connecting my heart to his, pulling tight, demanding acknowledgement. This is a mistake, I whispered. I can't be your mate. I'm nobody. You're mine. The possessiveness in his voice made my knees weak. You're my queen, and anyone who hurt you, who diminished you, who locked you away, they will answer for it. Your Majesty! Guards burst into the garden, followed by what looked like half the Great Hall. We heard. Is everything? They stopped short, staring at me, at my rags, my dirt, my scar. And then I saw her. Eleanor, my stepmother, dressed in expensive silk, her face carefully arranged in concern. Until she saw me. Then her expression twisted into pure rage. "Elara?" she gasped, loud enough for everyone to hear. "What are you doing here? I told you to stay home. You're in no condition to—" "You locked her in an attic." The king's voice cut through her protests like a blade. "Don't bother lying. I can smell the truth." Eleanor paled. "Your Majesty, I only meant to protect her." "Protect her? By imprisoning her? By keeping her from the ceremony?" He moved between us, blocking Eleanor from my view. "She is my mate. The moon goddess herself has marked her as my queen, and you tried to hide her from me." The crowd erupted in whispers. I saw Vivienne pushing through, her beautiful face twisted with disbelief and jealousy. "That's impossible," Vivienne shrieked. "She's an Omega. She's scarred. She can't be." "She is a white wolf," the king interrupted. "Blessed by the moon goddess. And she is mine." The alpha power in that last word made everyone, including Eleanor and Vivienne, drop to their knees in submission. Everyone except me. I stayed standing, staring at this male who'd just claimed me as his queen. This king I didn't know, feeling the mate bond pull tighter with every passing second. He turned back to me, his expression softening. "I'm Caelan," he said. "Caelan Stormwind, Alpha King of the Northern Territories. And I know this is overwhelming. I know you're scared. But I promise you, no one will ever lock you away again. No one will ever make you feel less than the treasure you are. Will you accept my claim? Will you be my queen?" I should have said no. Should have run. This was too much, too fast, too impossible. But my wolf was howling, yes, and the bond was singing, and when I looked into Caelan's eyes, I saw something that made my breath catch. Hope, like he'd been searching for me his whole life and had finally found what he'd been looking for. "I accept," I whispered. Caelan's smile transformed his face, making him look younger, almost boyish. He reached out slowly, giving me time to pull away. When I didn't, his hand cupped my scarred cheek with a gentleness that made tears spring to my eyes. "Perfect," he murmured. "You're perfect." Then he kissed me. The mate bond exploded between us like lightning, searing and beautiful and right. I felt it in every cell, every breath, every beat of my heart that was no longer just mine, but ours. When we broke apart, I was crying. Caelan wiped my tears away with his thumbs, still cradling my face like I was something precious. "Take me home," I whispered. "Please. I don't want to be here anymore." "Then we'll go." He swept me into his arms, literally lifted me like I weighed nothing, and turned to the crowd. "The mating ceremony is concluded. I have chosen my queen. The coronation will take place in 3 days. You're all dismissed." "But Your Majesty," someone protested. "Dismissed." The Alpha command was absolute. People scattered. Caelan carried me through the palace, past gaping servants and shocked nobles, up grand staircases to what I assumed were his private chambers. He set me down gently in a room that was larger than my entire house. Massive bed, fireplace, windows overlooking the kingdom. "This is your room now," he said. "Our room, if you're comfortable with that. If not, I can sleep elsewhere until—" "Stay," I interrupted. "Please, I don't want to be alone." "Then I'll stay. Always." He pulled off his formal coat and draped it around my shoulders. It was massive on me, but warm and smelling like him. "Let me call the servants. You need a bath, food, clean clothes." "I need answers." I sat on the edge of the enormous bed. "Why me? You could have had anyone. Any of those beautiful, powerful females. Why choose a scarred Omega who was locked in an attic?" Caelan knelt in front of me so we were eye level. "Because you're not an Omega. You're a white wolf, one of the rarest bloodlines in existence, because that scar on your face means you survived something that would have killed most wolves, because you broke out of a locked attic and ran 3 miles to answer the mate bond. He took my hands in his, and because when I look at you, my soul recognizes yours. That's what the mate bond is. Not politics. Not breeding, not power. Just recognition. You are the other half of me, Elara. I would know you in the dark. I would know you in death. And I will spend every day of my life proving to you that you are worthy of being chosen. More tears. I couldn't seem to stop crying. I don't know how to be a queen, I admitted. Neither did I know how to be a king when I took the throne. We'll learn together. He squeezed my hands. But first, let me take care of you. Let me show you what it means to be valued. Will you let me do that? I nodded. Caelan called servants who brought a bath, food and clothes. He dismissed them before I had to undress, giving me privacy. When I emerged from the bathing room in a soft nightgown that actually fit, he'd changed into simple sleeping clothes and was sitting by the fire. "Come here," he said, patting the space beside him. I sat, and he immediately pulled me against his side, his arm around my shoulders. It should have felt strange, this intimacy with someone I'd just met, but the mate bond made it feel natural. "Right. Tell me about your life," he said. "I want to know everything." So I did. I told him about my mother dying at my birth, about my father raising me alone until I was 14, about the rogue attack that killed him and scarred me, about Eleanor marrying my father, seeming kind at first, then showing her true nature once he was gone. "She made me a servant in my own home," I said quietly. "Took my room, my belongings, everything my parents left me. Made me sleep in the attic, do all the housework, eat scraps from their table. Vivienne, my stepsister, she was worse. She knew what her mother was doing and encouraged it, called me ugly, worthless, a burden." Caelan's arms tightened around me. "They will pay for this. I don't want revenge. I just want to never see them again." "You won't have to. But Elara, they abused you, stole from you. That's not something I can ignore. I'm the king. I'm responsible for justice in this kingdom. What will you do to them? What do you want me to do?" I thought about it. About years of cruelty, of being diminished and hidden. About tonight, locked away while Vivienne preened and planned to steal what should have been mine. "I want them to know what it feels like," I said finally. "To lose everything, to be nothing." "Consider it done." He pressed a kiss to the top of my head. "Now, sleep. You're exhausted, and tomorrow will be overwhelming. The entire court will want to meet you. I'm scared, I know, but I'll be with you. Every step." He guided me to the bed, tucked me in like I was something precious. "I'm going to sleep in the chair tonight. I don't want you to feel pressured or uncomfortable." "Sleep here," I interrupted. "In the bed. Just hold me, please." He hesitated, then climbed in beside me, staying on top of the covers while I was under them. His arms came around me, pulling me against his chest, and I felt safe for the first time in years. "Thank you," I whispered, "for choosing me." "Thank you for being alive to be chosen," he murmured back. "Sleep now, my queen, I'll keep the nightmares away." And somehow, impossibly, I believed him. How will Elara navigate life as the new queen? What will happen when she faces her stepmother and stepsister again? And what secrets does her white wolf bloodline hold? Keep watching to find out. Don't forget to like and comment if you're rooting for Elara. I woke to sunlight streaming through windows and the realization that I was wrapped around Caelan like a vine around a tree. My face was pressed against his chest. My leg was thrown over his hip. His arms were locked around me like he'd fight anyone who tried to take me away. "Good morning," his voice rumbled against my ear. I jerked back, or tried to. His arms tightened slightly, keeping me close. "Don't run," he said gently. "You're allowed to be close to me. We're mates." "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." Elara, he pulled back enough to look at my face. Stop apologizing. You've done nothing wrong. You'll never do anything wrong by wanting to be near me. Understand? I nodded, not quite believing it, but wanting to. A knock at the door made me tense. Caelan called, "Enter," and a middle-aged woman in fine clothes came in, followed by 3 younger women carrying trays and clothes. "Your Majesty," the older woman said, bowing. "I'm Margaret, the head of household. I've brought breakfast and clothes for Her Majesty the Queen, as you requested." Her Majesty the Queen. That was me. The words still didn't feel real. "Thank you, Margaret," Caelan said. "Please help Elara dress. I'll be in my study when she's ready." He pressed a kiss to my forehead, a gesture so casually affectionate it made my chest ache, and left. Margaret and her assistants descended on me with an efficiency that was terrifying. Within an hour I was bathed, dressed in a gown of deep blue silk, my hair arranged in an elaborate style, even cosmetics carefully applied. "Should we cover the scar, Your Majesty?" one of the younger women asked hesitantly. "No," Margaret said firmly before I could respond. "The scar is part of Her Majesty's story, part of her strength. We don't hide strength." I looked at myself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. I looked like royalty, like someone who belonged in a palace, like a queen. "His Majesty is waiting in the breakfast room," Margaret said. "Shall I escort you?" I nodded, not trusting my voice. The breakfast room was smaller than I'd expected, intimate, with windows overlooking the gardens where Caelan had found me last night. He stood as I entered, his eyes widening slightly. "You're beautiful," he said. Margaret and her team are very efficient. They only enhanced what was already there. He pulled out a chair for me. "How did you sleep?" "Better than I have in years. You?" "Best sleep of my life." His smile was soft. "Having my mate close changes everything." We ate breakfast together, and Caelan explained what would happen over the next few days. Meetings with advisors, preparation for the coronation ceremony, introductions to the noble houses. "It will be overwhelming," he admitted, "but I'll be with you. And Margaret will help coordinate everything. She's been running this palace since before I became king." "What about my stepmother, Vivienne?" His expression hardened. "They're being dealt with as we speak." "What does that mean?" "It means they're being escorted to the throne room for a public hearing. Their crimes need to be addressed formally." He hesitated. "You don't have to attend if you don't want to. But if you do want to face them, to have your say, I'll support you." Did I want to face them? Part of me wanted to hide, to pretend they didn't exist. But another part, the part that had endured years of cruelty, wanted to look them in the eye and show them what I'd become. "I want to be there," I said. "Then we'll go together." The throne room was packed. What felt like half the kingdom had crammed in to witness this. I saw nobles I recognized from last night, servants from the palace, and in the center of the room, kneeling in chains, Eleanor and Vivienne. They both looked haggard. Eleanor's expensive dress was rumpled, her carefully styled hair falling loose. Vivienne had been crying, her face red and blotchy. When they saw me enter on Caelan's arm, wearing a queen's crown and royal blue silk, their expressions twisted with rage and disbelief. Caelan led me to the throne, a massive chair carved from dark wood and inlaid with silver. Beside it was a smaller but equally ornate chair. He sat in the larger throne and gestured to the smaller one. "Your seat, my queen." I sat, feeling hundreds of eyes on me, and forced myself to breathe. Caelan's voice rang out across the silent hall. "We are gathered to address crimes committed against our queen. Eleanor Ashwood, you stand accused of unlawful imprisonment, theft, and abuse of a minor in your care. Vivienne Ashwood, you stand accused of conspiracy in these crimes. How do you plead?" "This is absurd," Eleanor shrieked. "She's lying. She's manipulated you somehow. That scar, that weak wolf. She's nothing. She should be grateful I gave her a home." "Silence." The alpha command in Caelan's voice made Eleanor choke on her next words. He turned to me. Elara, tell the court what was done to you. So I did. Every detail, every cruelty, every moment of being made to feel less than nothing. My voice shook at first, but it grew stronger as I spoke. By the end, there were tears on many faces in the crowd, and murder in Caelan's eyes. The evidence is clear, he said. Eleanor Ashwood, Vivienne Ashwood, you are found guilty. Your noble title is stripped. Your lands and wealth are forfeit to the crown. You will serve 10 years in the labour camps, learning what it means to be truly powerless. No, Vivienne screamed. You can't. We're nobles. You are nothing, I said quietly, but my voice carried. Just like you told me I was nothing. Now you'll understand what that feels like. Guards dragged them away, still screaming. The crowd erupted in whispers, but Caelan raised his hand for silence. Let it be known throughout the kingdom, anyone who harms what is mine will face the full weight of my justice. My queen is under my protection. Any who threaten her threaten me. Any who hurt her will answer for it with their lives. He stood, offering me his hand. I took it, and together we left the throne room to thunderous applause. Once we were in private, I collapsed against him, shaking. You did well, he murmured, stroking my hair. So well. I'm proud of you. I don't feel victorious, I feel empty. That's normal. Justice doesn't always feel satisfying, but it was necessary. He pulled back to look at me. They can never hurt you again. You're safe now. Because you made me safe. No, because you're strong enough to be safe. I just gave you the platform to show it. He pressed a kiss to my forehead. Come, we have a kingdom to learn how to rule together. The next 3 days were a whirlwind. I met with advisors, learned the names and faces of dozens of noble families, prepared for the coronation ceremony. Margaret became my lifeline, explaining protocol and etiquette with endless patience. And through it all, Caelan was there, teaching me, supporting me, making me laugh when the pressure got too intense. At night, we'd return to our chambers, and he'd hold me while I processed everything. The mate bond grew stronger every day. I could feel his emotions now, sense his presence even when he was in another room. And he could feel mine, knew when I was overwhelmed before I said anything. We hadn't completed the mating bond, hadn't been intimate beyond kisses and sleeping in the same bed. Caelan was careful, patient, letting me set the pace, but the pull between us was getting harder to ignore. On the night before the coronation, I couldn't sleep. I sat by the window, looking out over the kingdom that would soon be officially mine to help rule. Second thoughts, Caelan's voice came from the bed. Terrified thoughts. What if I'm not good enough? What if the kingdom won't accept me? The kingdom will love you. How could they not? He joined me by the window, wrapping a blanket around both our shoulders. But even if they didn't, even if every person in this kingdom rejected you, I would still choose you, every time, in every life. You are my mate, Elara. That's not political, that's fate. I don't understand why fate chose me. Why it made someone as broken as me your perfect match. You're not broken. You're a survivor. There's a difference. He turned me to face him. And you're my match because you understand what it means to be underestimated, to be dismissed because people can't see past surfaces. I need a queen who knows that real strength isn't about power. It's about endurance, about getting up every day despite everything trying to keep you down. You have that strength. That's why you're perfect for me. Tears again. I was tired of crying, but these were different tears, not pain, but release. I love you, I whispered. I know it's fast. I know we just met, but the mate bond, it's, I love you too, he interrupted. Have since the moment I scented you in the garden, will until the day I die, and beyond. He kissed me then, deep and passionate, and the mate bond flared between us like wildfire. I felt the pull, the need to complete what we'd started, to be truly bonded in every way. Caelan! I gasped against his mouth. I'm ready, for all of it, for us. His eyes blazed silver. Are you sure? We can wait. I don't want to wait. I want to be yours completely. What followed was tender and intense and perfect. The mating bond sealed between us, and I felt it click into place like the final piece of a puzzle. We were one now, truly mated, bound forever. Afterwards, wrapped in his arms, I felt peace for the first time in my life. Thank you, I whispered. For what? For finding me. For choosing me. For seeing what no one else could see. Thank you, he replied, for being brave enough to break out of that attic. For running toward what terrified you. For giving me the greatest gift I'll ever receive. You. The coronation ceremony was magnificent. The entire kingdom attended, cramming the great hall to witness their new queen formally crowned. I wore a dress of white and silver, my hair loose and flowing, the scar on my face displayed proudly. I wasn't hiding anymore. Caelan placed the crown on my head himself, speaking the ancient words that bound me to the kingdom and its people. When he finished, he took my hand and raised it high. I present to you Queen Elara Stormwind, my mate, my partner, your queen, the crowd roared. And this time, the sound was approval, celebration, acceptance. Later, at the feast, I met wolves from all over the kingdom. Many approached me, sharing their own stories of hardship overcome, of being underestimated and dismissed. They saw themselves in me, saw hope. You're going to be a great queen, Margaret told me as she helped me change from the formal coronation gown into something more comfortable for the evening celebrations. You already are. I'm just doing what Caelan does, caring about the people. That's what makes a great ruler. Not power. Care, she smiled. Your Majesty, there's someone here who wishes to speak with you. She says it's important. A young woman entered, maybe a year or two older than me, dressed simply but clean. Her face was vaguely familiar. Your Majesty, she said, bowing. I'm Sarah. I worked in your stepmother's household. I was there when you were locked in the attic. My stomach tightened. I remember you. You brought me food sometimes. I did, and I'm so sorry I didn't do more. Should have gone to the authorities, should have helped you escape. You did what you could without endangering yourself. I don't blame you. She looked up, tears in her eyes. I came to tell you something. About your father's will. What about it? Your stepmother burned it. The day after your father's funeral. I saw her do it. She didn't want anyone to know what it said. Ice slid down my spine. What did it say? It left everything to you. The house, the money, everything. She was only to be your guardian until you came of age, but she destroyed the will and pretended he'd left it all to her. She stole your inheritance. Rage, hot and bright, surged through me. I felt Caelan's presence a moment before his hand touched my shoulder. He'd felt my emotion through the bond and come running. What's wrong? He demanded. Sarah repeated her story. By the end, Caelan's expression was cold as ice. Sarah, you'll be compensated for bringing this information forward, generously. He turned to me. Elara, this changes things. They didn't just abuse you, they robbed you. Legally, that house and everything in it belongs to you. I don't want it. Let it burn for all I care. That house is your father's legacy, your mother's memory. Don't let them taint that. His voice softened. We could restore it, make it a home for young wolves with nowhere else to go, a place where the lost and forgotten are found and valued. Would you like that? The idea took root immediately. Yes, that was perfect. Take what had been my prison and turn it into a sanctuary. I want that, I said. I want to help others who are where I was. Then we'll make it happen, together. He pressed a kiss to my temple. Your rule is already making this kingdom better. The Ashwood house had been transformed. Where once there had been coldness and cruelty, now there was warmth and laughter. 20 young wolves lived there now, orphans, outcasts, those with nowhere else to go. They had beds, food, education, and, most importantly, love. I visited every week, and Caelan came with me when his duties allowed. Today we sat in what used to be Eleanor's sitting room, now a common area filled with comfortable furniture and happy voices. Your Majesty, a young girl, maybe 10, approached shyly. Can you tell us about the white wolf again? About what it means? I smiled and gestured for her to sit. The white wolf is blessed by the moon goddess. It means you're marked for a special purpose. And do you know the best part? What? It doesn't matter if anyone else sees it. The blessing isn't for them. It's for you, to remind you that you have worth, even when the world tries to tell you otherwise. The girl beamed and ran off to tell her friends. Caelan pulled me closer, his arm around my waist. You're amazing with them, he murmured. I know what they feel like, what it's like to believe you're worthless. I leaned into him. I want them to know they're not, that they're treasures just waiting to be recognized. Like you were a treasure waiting for me to find you. More like a treasure you refused to overlook just because I was hidden in an attic. He laughed, the sound rich and warm. Best thing I ever did, choosing you. Best thing I ever did, breaking out of that attic to find you. We sat there for a while, watching the children play, feeling the peace that came from turning pain into purpose. Elara, Caelan said eventually, there's something I need to tell you, about your white wolf. Something in his tone made me tense. What about it? I've been researching, consulting the old texts, speaking with the eldest wolves in the kingdom. He turned me to face him. White wolves aren't just blessed, they're prophesied. The ancient texts speak of a white wolf who will unite the kingdom during a time of great darkness, who will bring change and healing. You think that's me? I think fate doesn't make mistakes. You were hidden, diminished, locked away, but you broke free at exactly the right moment. Found your way to me when the kingdom needed a queen who understood suffering, who could see the forgotten and overlooked. His hand cupped my scarred cheek. You're not just my mate, Elara. You're the fulfillment of prophecy. You're going to change everything. That's a lot of pressure. Good thing you're strong enough to handle it, he smiled. But you won't do it alone. We're partners, in everything. Whatever comes, we face it together. Before I could respond, a commotion outside drew our attention. Through the window, I saw guards arriving, their expressions urgent. The captain spotted us and hurried inside. Your Majesty, he bowed quickly. Forgive the intrusion, but there's news from the southern border. The Shadowfang pack, they're mobilizing. It looks like preparation for an invasion. Caelan's expression went hard. How many? At least 500 warriors, maybe more. They're demanding you relinquish the throne to their Alpha, claiming he has a stronger blood claim. Ridiculous. The council confirmed my right to rule 5 years ago. They're saying the prophecy changes things, that the White Wolf Queen means a new era, and they want to control that era. The captain's gaze flicked to me. They're demanding Her Majesty be turned over to them, claiming she should choose the strongest Alpha, not... Forgive me, Your Majesty. Not an Alpha they see as weak, Caelan finished coldly. Let me guess. Sebastian Shadowfang is leading this charge? Yes, Your Majesty. I'd heard of Sebastian Shadowfang, a brutal Alpha who ruled his pack through fear and violence. The exact opposite of Caelan. They're using me as an excuse, I said quietly. They want the throne and they're using the prophecy about the White Wolf to justify it. They won't have you. They won't have the throne. And they won't have the satisfaction of thinking fear will make me surrender. Caelan stood, already in Alpha mode. Captain, mobilize our forces. Send word to our allied packs. If Sebastian wants war, he'll get it. But he'll regret starting it. Your Majesty... The captain hesitated. Sebastian sent a message. He's offering single combat. Alpha against Alpha. Winner takes the throne and the queen. He says if you refuse, he'll attack the villages first, slaughter the innocents until you agree to face him. Caelan's jaw clenched. Of course he would threaten the defenseless. That's his way. You can't face him alone, I said, fear icing through my veins. He's known for being ruthless. He'll cheat. He'll lose. Caelan turned to me, his expression softening slightly. Elara, I've been Alpha King for 5 years. I didn't take this throne by being weak. Sebastian is strong, yes, but he's reckless, arrogant, and he's never fought for something that truly matters. I have. I'm fighting for you, for this kingdom, for everyone who depends on us. That makes me stronger than he'll ever be. I don't want to lose you. You won't. I promise. He pulled me into his arms and I felt his certainty through the mate bond. He truly believed he could win. But I need to know you'll be safe while I'm gone. Will you stay here? In the palace? With guards? Absolutely not. Where you go, I go. We're mates. Partners. Remember, this is different. This is dangerous. Then it's a good thing I'm a prophesied white wolf who's apparently supposed to unite the kingdom during dark times. I met his eyes steadily. You're not facing this alone. I won't let you. Pride and fear warred on his face. Finally, he nodded. Together then. But you stay behind our lines during the actual combat. Non-negotiable. Agreed. The journey to the southern border took 2 days. Caelan brought 300 of his best warriors, and allied packs sent another 200. But Sebastian had 500, and they were already encamped at the border, waiting. The night before the combat, Caelan and I stood in our tent, neither of us able to sleep. I need to tell you something, I said, in case tomorrow goes wrong. It won't. Listen, please. I took his hands. Before I met you, I was surviving, just existing, getting through each day. But you showed me what it means to live, to be valued, to be loved. These past few months with you have been the happiest of my life. And if tomorrow, if something happens, I want you to know that I don't regret any of it. I would break out of that attic 1,000 times if it meant finding you. Caelan's eyes were bright with unshed tears. Nothing's going to happen to me. I won't leave you. I can't. But if you do, if the worst happens, promise me you'll make sure the children at Ashwood House are cared for. Promise me the kingdom will remember that strength isn't about power. It's about endurance, about choosing kindness, even when the world gives you every reason to be cruel. I promise. But it won't come to that. He pulled me close, his face buried in my hair. I'm going to win tomorrow. I'm going to come back to you. And we're going to rule this kingdom together for 50 years. We're going to have children who never know what it's like to be unloved. We're going to change the world. That's the future I'm fighting for tomorrow. That's what gives me strength. We held each other until dawn, neither sleeping, both trying to memorize this moment in case it was our last. The combat ground was a cleared field between the two camps. Thousands of wolves gathered to witness, warriors from both sides, plus civilians who'd travelled to watch their Alpha King defend his throne. Sebastian Shadowfang stood in the centre of the field, massive and scarred, grinning like this was already won. He was easily 6.5 feet tall, broader than Caelan, covered in battle scars that spoke of decades of violence. Caelan Stormwind, Sebastian called out, ready to lose your throne, your mate, your life. Ready to defend all 3, Caelan replied calmly. He'd stripped to just leather pants, his chest bare, his silver blue eyes focused and clear. The question is, are you ready to die for your ambition? Big words from a king who's only held his throne for 5 years. I've been an alpha for 20. I've killed more wolves than you've ever commanded. Quantity doesn't equal quality, and I'm betting you've never fought for anything beyond your own ego. Sebastian snarled, his wolf rising to the surface. Last chance to surrender. Give me the white wolf and your throne, and I'll let you live as an omega in my pack. Let you watch while I make your mate mine. Caelan's eyes flashed silver. You can try. The fight began. It was brutal from the first moment. Sebastian fought like the predator he was, all aggression and power, no finesse. He landed several heavy blows that would have felled a lesser wolf. But Caelan was faster, more strategic. He dodged more than he blocked, looking for openings, waiting for Sebastian to overextend. "Come on!" Sebastian roared, his frustration growing. "Stop running and fight!" "I am fighting. You're just not used to opponents who use their brains." Caelan landed a quick strike to Sebastian's ribs, dancing back before the larger alpha could retaliate. "You rely on intimidation, on being the biggest, meanest wolf in the room. But that only works when your opponents are afraid of you." "I'm not afraid." "You should be." Sebastian lunged, and this time Caelan couldn't dodge. They went down in a tangle of limbs, rolling across the ground, each trying to gain the dominant position. I watched through my fingers, my heart in my throat, feeling every impact through the mate bond. They broke apart, both bleeding now. Sebastian's face was split open above his eye. Caelan's shoulder was gouged where Sebastian's claws had caught him. "Not bad," Sebastian admitted, "but let's see how you do against my wolf." He shifted. A massive black wolf, easily twice the size of a normal wolf, with red eyes that spoke of violence and madness. He'd been corrupted somehow, I realized, let darkness into his soul in exchange for power. Caelan shifted in response. His wolf was smaller, silver-grey, but moved with a grace Sebastian's couldn't match. The wolves circled each other, and I saw Sebastian's strategy. He was trying to drive Caelan toward the edge of the combat ground, toward where his warriors waited. If he could get Caelan close enough, his pack could interfere, claim it was an accident. "Caelan!" I screamed. "Behind you!" He heard me, twisted away just as 3 of Sebastian's wolves broke from the crowd, lunging for him. But they never reached him. I didn't think, didn't plan. I just shifted, my white wolf bursting free with a power I'd never felt before, and threw myself between Caelan and the attacking wolves. Light exploded from my fur, brilliant and blinding. The 3 attackers screamed and scattered, their eyes burning from the intensity. And suddenly, every wolf on the field, friend and foe alike, fell to their knees. I was glowing, actually glowing like I'd swallowed moonlight. And I could feel it, power flowing through me, ancient and vast, the blessing of the moon goddess herself made manifest. "The prophecy," someone whispered, "the white wolf of legend." Sebastian shifted back to human form, and for the first time I saw fear in his eyes. "This isn't possible. White wolves are a myth." "Myths are just truths people stopped believing," I said, and my voice echoed with power that wasn't quite my own. "You wanted the throne, wanted to control the prophecy. But you can't control what you don't understand. The white wolf doesn't bring power to the worthy. She brings justice to the cruel." I looked at Caelan, who'd shifted back to human form and was staring at me with awe. Through the mate bond, I felt his love, his pride, his absolute certainty that this was who I was meant to be. "Sebastian Shadowfang," I said, turning back to the would-be usurper. "You've ruled through fear and violence. You've killed innocents. You've corrupted your wolf with dark magic. And you tried to cheat in sacred combat. Do you deny these charges?" "I deny nothing," he spat. "I did what was necessary to be strong, to survive. The weak don't deserve mercy." "You're right. They don't deserve mercy. They deserve justice." I stepped closer and he actually backed away from me. "Your pack is released from your alpha bond. They're free to choose a new leader, one who leads with honor, not fear. You are marked as a rogue, forbidden from holding pack membership ever again. And if you ever threaten this kingdom again, I will personally ensure you don't survive the encounter." The light from my fur intensified, and I saw the alpha bond connecting Sebastian to his pack literally snap. 500 wolves gasped as they were suddenly freed from his control. Sebastian fell to his knees, no longer an alpha, just a lone wolf. "You can't do this. You're nobody. I'm the white wolf of prophecy, I'm the Alpha Queen, and I'm the mate of the king you tried to overthrow." I looked at the gathered wolves, Sebastian's former pack. "Who among you stands with him? Who supports what he's done?" Silence. No one moved to defend him. "And who among you wishes to swear loyalty to the true Alpha King?" As one, 500 wolves, former Shadowfang pack, dropped to their knees, baring their throats in submission, not to me, but to Caelan. "We submit to the Alpha King," they said in unison. "We accept his rule. We pledge our loyalty." Caelan moved to my side, his hand finding mine. Together we faced the assembled wolves. "I accept your pledge," he said. "You're no longer Shadowfang pack. You're Stormwind pack now. You're under my protection, and I swear to you, I will never rule through fear. I will earn your loyalty, not demand it. Together we will build a kingdom where strength means protecting the weak, not exploiting them." The cheering was deafening. Sebastian tried to slink away, but guards caught him. He'd faced trial for his crimes, but he was no longer a threat. Just a bitter, broken wolf who'd gambled everything and lost. The glow from my fur faded as I shifted back to human form. Immediately I swayed, exhausted. Caelan caught me, pulling me against his chest. "That was incredible," he murmured. "You were incredible. I didn't know I could do that." The prophecy. It's real. You really are meant to unite the kingdom. He kissed the top of my head. And you just did. Sebastian's pack, our pack now, that's 800 wolves loyal to us. The largest pack in the kingdom. You didn't just save me, Elara. You changed everything. We changed everything? Together. I looked up at him. That's what the prophecy means, I think. Not that I do this alone, but that we do it together. Alpha King and White Wolf Queen. Balance. I like the sound of that. He kissed me properly then, in front of thousands of witnesses, and the crowd roared their approval. I stood in the rebuilt Ashwood House, now officially the White Wolf Sanctuary, watching as 50 children of all ages ran through the gardens, playing and laughing. We'd expanded the building, hired teachers and caregivers, created a place where any young wolf who needed sanctuary could find it. And today we were opening a second sanctuary in the south, where Sebastian's former pack had settled, turning his legacy of violence into one of healing. "Your Majesty?" One of the teachers approached, smiling. "The children have prepared something for you. A thank you gift." She led me to the common room, where all 50 children had gathered. They stood in neat rows, suddenly shy, and then began to sing. It was a song they'd written themselves, about the white wolf who'd been locked away but broke free. About finding courage when you felt worthless, about how every person, no matter how small or scarred or different, had value. By the end, I was crying. Again. Though these days my tears were more often happiness than pain. The children rushed forward, hugging me, showing me drawings they'd made of my white wolf form. Each one saw me differently, but all of them saw me as something beautiful, something strong. "Thank you," I managed. "All of you. You've given me such a gift." "You gave us a home," one of the older girls said. "You gave us hope. We wanted to give you something back." Caelan appeared in the doorway, and his expression when he saw me surrounded by children told me everything I needed to know. He loved this, loved seeing me happy, fulfilled, making a difference. "I hate to interrupt," he said, moving into the room, "but there's something I need to show you. Something important." Curious, I followed him outside to where a carriage waited. He helped me inside, and we rode for maybe 20 minutes before stopping at a building I didn't recognize. An old temple by the looks of it, carefully restored. "What is this?" I asked. "The Temple of the Moon Goddess. It's been abandoned for decades, but I had it restored. Come inside." The interior was beautiful, all silver and white with windows that caught the sunlight and made everything glow. And in the center, there was a pool of water so clear it looked like liquid moonlight. "This is where the ancient white wolves came to commune with the goddess," Caelan explained, "where they received visions and prophecies. I thought you might want to explore that part of yourself. Understand what you're meant to do." I looked at the pool, feeling the pull of it, the rightness. "Will you stay with me?" "Always." We approached the pool together, and the moment my hand touched the water, visions flooded my mind. I saw the kingdom as it could be, packs united, children safe, wolves living without fear of tyranny or abuse. I saw sanctuaries like mine spreading across the land, offering refuge to anyone who needed it. I saw laws change to protect the vulnerable, punish the cruel, reward the compassionate. I saw a future where being different wasn't something to hide, but something to celebrate, where scars told stories of survival, not shame. And I saw myself and Caelan at the centre of it all, ruling with wisdom and compassion, raising children who would continue the work we'd started. "I can see it," I whispered. "I can see what we're meant to build." "Then let's build it," Caelan said. "One day at a time. Together." I turned to him, this male who'd chosen me when I was nothing, who'd seen value where everyone else saw weakness, who'd given me a crown and a kingdom and, most importantly, shown me my own worth. "I love you," I said. "I love you too, my queen, my mate, my white wolf." He kissed me there in the temple, with moonlight streaming through the windows and the future spreading out before us like an open road. I'd been hidden in an attic, locked away, forgotten. But I'd broken free, found my mate, discovered my purpose. And now I was going to change the world, not because I was powerful in the traditional sense, but because I understood what it meant to be powerless, and I'd never let anyone feel that way again. That was the prophecy. That was my gift. And I would spend the rest of my life honoring it. Starting today, starting now, starting with the male who'd saved me by letting me save myself. Together we would build a kingdom worthy of the white wolf's blessing. A kingdom where everyone, no matter how scarred or scared or different, could find sanctuary. A kingdom called home. The palace gardens were filled with laughter as two young children, twins, a boy and a girl, both with silver blue eyes and hints of white in their dark hair, chased each other through the roses. I watched them from the balcony, my hand resting on my swollen belly. Another child on the way, due in just a few months. "They're going to destroy those roses," Caelan said, joining me, wrapping his arms around me from behind. "Let them. Roses grow back. Childhood is fleeting." Wise words from a wise queen. He kissed my neck. The council meeting went well. The new sanctuary laws passed unanimously. We'll have 10 more refugees open by year's end. And the education reforms? Also passed. Every child in the kingdom will have access to school, regardless of pack status or bloodline. Omegas included, I smiled. 5 years of steady work, slowly changing laws and hearts. It wasn't dramatic like the battle with Sebastian had been, but it was profound, real, lasting. "Mama!" Our daughter, Eleanor, named for the mother I never knew, ran up to the balcony. "Papa, come play." "In a minute, little moon," Caelan called back. "Mama needs to rest." "I don't need to rest. I need to play with my children." I turned in his arms. "That's what makes this worth it, you know. Not the crown or the prophecy. This, our family. The life we've built. Do you ever regret it? Wish you'd stayed in that attic? Had a simpler life?" I pretended to consider it. "Well, the attic was very peaceful. No council meetings, no diplomatic dinners, no 3-year-olds destroying rose gardens." He swatted my hip playfully. "Be serious." "I am serious." "The attic was hell, Caelan. Every day was surviving, not living, but breaking out, finding you, becoming this—" I gestured to the gardens, the palace, our children. "This is the life I was always meant to have. I just had to be brave enough to reach for it. You're the bravest person I know." "I learned from the best." I kissed him softly. "Now come on. Our children are waiting, and I want to chase them through roses while I still can. In a few months, I'll be too pregnant to run. In a few months, they'll be chasing their new sibling." We descended to the gardens together, scooped up our laughing children, and played until sunset. Later, after the twins were asleep, Caelan and I returned to the balcony, watching moonlight paint the kingdom silver. "Do Do you think she's watching? I asked, looking at the moon. The goddess? Do you think she's pleased with what we've done? I think, Caelan said, pulling me close. She knew exactly what she was doing when she made you my mate, when she blessed you with that white wolf, when she helped you break out of that attic and run straight to me. You think it was all planned? I think fate is real, prophecy is real, and love is the most real thing of all. He placed his hand over my belly, feeling the life growing inside. We're building the kingdom she dreamed of, one child at a time, one sanctuary at a time, one changed heart at a time. It's slow work. The best work always is. I leaned into him, feeling the mate bond pulse between us, still as strong as the day we'd met, maybe stronger. Through that bond, I felt his love, his pride, his absolute certainty that we were exactly where we were meant to be. And for the first time in my life, I felt the same way. I'd been hidden in an attic, broken and forgotten. But I'd broken free, found my true self, and claimed my destiny. Not because I was powerful, but because I refused to stay powerless. That was the real prophecy. That was the truth the white wolf carried. Everyone has the power to break free, to change their story, to refuse to be defined by other people's limitations. You just have to be brave enough to try. And I had been. I was. I would continue to be. For myself, for Caelan, for our children, for every lost and forgotten soul who needed someone to show them they mattered. That was my purpose, my gift, my blessing, and I wore it as proudly as I wore my crown.